Hello, everyone. Hey, welcome to Founders Live Conversations. I'm Nick Hughes. I'm the founder and CEO of Founders Live. And today we have a special guest joining us from Florida, Angelique Adderly with Sereni Postnatal Retreat. And Angelique was a recent winner of Founders Live Palm Beaches, a really awesome Founders Live event that we have with our city leader down there in Miami, and then the greater part of Florida now. But Angelique, welcome to the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
That's great. It's great to have you. And we always enjoy chatting with our winners and our entrepreneurs and founders throughout our ecosystem. And today, you are joining us from Florida, and it's just great to have you. Feel free to just introduce yourself real quick before we jump in.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I am Angelique Adderly, the founder and owner of Sereni Postnatal Retreat Incorporated. It is a maternal health nonprofit focused on postpartum health and healing for all moms and families in support. I'm also a certified birth and postpartum doula and a certified lactation educator. I'm glad to be here today.
Awesome. Well, hey, that's great. You definitely do a lot, and I'm excited to hear more of what pulled you into this direction, right? But before we get there, yeah, it's a question I ask a lot of people. Why entrepreneurship? What draws you? Maybe that's, I think, the first way to go about this is what draws you to create your own not just company, but obviously the service that you provide.
Yeah, for me, it was finding that gap. I saw the need for increasing of maternal mental health. I experienced postpartum depression firsthand, even though I worked in healthcare. Um, I noticed the gap from leaving the hospital to going home. There's no real support and healing overall. And I wanted to solve that problem and be a community for all people that really truly need the help.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what does entrepreneurship mean to you? And maybe compare that to a more, we would say, typical employment, working for a separate company, another company. But entrepreneurship is owning your own business, and that sometimes people say freedom, sometimes people say purpose. So what words and/or what does it maybe mean to you?
Passion and purpose. Those two P's. For me, entrepreneurship is, um, it could be overwhelming at times, right? But it's so fulfilling that you know that you are doing something that's going to help the community overall. And that's what drives me to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I agree. And as you probably see, and as others see, that flows through Founders Live as well. And for me, it's so cool that's how I live. But we also have created this thing that is around the world that so many people, share that same view as you, and we're all here to, the purpose and all of that, the passion of it. It's really, really cool. So, that's great. And well, with that, and we're gonna kind of tiptoe into your experience of Sereni and what you're building. But how did you discover Founders Live, and what was it about the Founders Live Palm Beaches event that said, you know what, I want to attend this, and more importantly, I want to pitch?
Yeah, for me, it was gaining that experience of being out there. For me, I wanted everyone to know about Sereni and also see how it was my first time, right? As a doing a pitch. So for me, when I researched Founders Live, I was like, this is really meant for founders, like startups, companies, and those who are in the company, but still at the foundation stage. But it helps you and it helps build you up, and not just you, but also your company. And I love the fact that it was close by. I didn't have to go too far from home either. So it was just a great experience overall, and just doing that research and making sure like I'm actually using a company that is meant for Sereni and not just because.
Yeah, yeah. And then you chose the pitch. And a lot of these with our podcasts and these conversations, people listen to them that they might be thinking about pitching. So, what was it that you're like, yeah, I'm not just going to attend this. I would actually like to get up and speak and really share my vision and passion.
Yeah, I want everyone to know about maternal mental health and how important it is to make sure there is someone out there that is aiding the community in the right way. And so when I found Founders Live, I was like, this is the place for me because not only is going to give me the tools and resources to help me build my company, but help me as well personally as I continue this new entrepreneurship life as well.
Mm-hmm. That's yeah. I mean, that's why we're here, and we're here to really build that community and be a place for early stage founders to I mean, and I guess that maybe another little question is like, did you feel that because it it's a place that has structure, but it's also a place that you can learn and not be so intimidated. It fits that right space, right? And
Yeah.
and that's it's been that way since I started Founders Live, like this 12 years ago. Started it in Seattle, and I really wanted to make sure that there was a space that was comfortable enough, but yet structured enough. And also, there's a little competition. Of course, we need that, right? So, did you feel that as well?
Yeah, being at that pitch, I saw so many great ideas, so many sources of help and filling those gaps and needs in the community. It opened my eyes to a lot of things I didn't even think about. Um, and I was not sure at all if I was going to actually win because how good these other ideas were. But it was a great experience, and I truly, truly appreciate you founding this and bringing this to the table across the world for all others to bring their ideas and not feel scared or trying to hide what they're thinking or their vision and try to bring it out of them to in their comfort zone where it's safe. This is a safe space and we're okay with bringing our visions to life because our visions are our babies, right? So we try
Yeah.
to protect our babies in that way. So I truly appreciate you founding this.
Well, hey, yeah, thank you. It means a lot. Before we move on real quick, if you were going to share maybe one or two things, aspects of when you prepared and or in the moment you're pitching that seemed to work, what would you share with people that were thinking about going through that process?
Um, always be a learner and always be a mentee. Always have someone that's going to mentor you on the right steps. For me, I had a mentor that helped me with my pitching. I wrote down what I wanted to say, and she kind of helped cultivate all the things that I needed to make sure that I executed it correctly. So having those resources, researching, looking up different examples of how to pitch, what works, what doesn't work, is very, very vital and key.
Yeah, it is. It's 99 seconds, all right? And there's a reason why it's that, not just a kind of a slightly random number. I've always had 99's always been I don't know, it's been weird. It's been a number for me. But more importantly, it's a short enough time that you gotta like figure it out. And so listen to what Angelique said, and find people that can help, and they can be an ear, and they can give perspective. And then I think the other thing is, look, Founders Live's been going long enough. You can search and find Founders Live pitches online and on YouTube and other things, and you can really dig into Founders Live, the resources we have to really understand what goes into that pitch. So good job on all of it, and it clearly turned out well for you. So congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's shift to what you're creating and Sereni Postnatal Retreat. What I like to do is I always like to start with more like, well, clearly that seems like there was a bit of a story here or an experience you had, and then what problem did you see in the world that you really wanted to kind of attack here?
Yeah, for me, I noticed a major gap from leaving the hospital to going home. They really didn't give you anything besides like a brochure and follow up with your doctor in 6 weeks, right? But in between that time, you're trying to navigate who you are. This is a whole nother experience for new moms or expecting moms with multiples. You can go through postpartum depression or even other things such as anxiety, mood disorders, but don't really know how to navigate it, right? So for me, I am solving the postpartum support gap in the United States. Currently, there's 1 in 5 mothers who experience a perinatal mood and anxiety disorder, many of which go undiagnosed, right? And unsupported because women, we tend to like to wear the superhero cap and the cape a lot of times. We try to do everything for everyone, but kind of neglect ourselves as well. So, creating that space for moms to learn how to heal and love themselves again um, was my focus and my passion because I had to learn that for myself as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's a quite serious thing, right? Yeah, and what would you say? You said they're just like, hey, here's some brochures, but I mean, clearly there was a lot to be desired. And were you in that space where you're like, wow, like this needs to be a lot better? Maybe walk us through a little bit more of that kind of moment where then you said, it's not just like, God, that was not great, and then you move on with your life. You clearly were like, just like me, I realized I had a challenge. My first experience with a startup, and I said, if I experience this, thousands, if not millions of other people experience the same thing. Seems like you might have had that same thought, at least. If I experience this, wow, there's a lot more people that you can help because this is clearly a problem.
Yeah, for sure. After having my firstborn, I found myself in a mentally and emotionally in a dark place. I've worked in healthcare and I'm used to textbook versions, but never the actual lived experience. And so when I lived through the actual textbook version of it, I didn't know where to go. So I had to Google. Google's not the best resource, right? At some most of the time. So it's good to actually have a provider that actually knows what they're talking about and knows how to help you in those moments. So for me, um, I remember being on a phone call with a family member, and they were like, "You don't sound like yourself." And having that support around you that knows you so well, so you don't sound like yourself, and be able to pick up those pieces
Yeah.
and tell you and help you navigate this new world and get those resources for you. Um, it's just epic. So for me, I wanted to make sure, and not just as myself, but as a doula as well, I do see it in the community, the need. They leave the hospital, they go follow up with their 6 week provider, and that's it. They're kind of left in the wind to kind of figure it out. Um, but unfortunately, that doesn't really help them, right? Because now they're experiencing all these different things, and no one really follows up with them to provide them with those resources that they truly do need. So that's why I created Sereni, and that's why I'm here to let everyone know that maternal mental health is real. And a lot of times, we kind of forget what happens after baby. We focus so much and prepare for baby that we don't realize what comes next when they come home.
Yeah. Yeah. Walk us through a little bit. And by the way, we're putting on here the URL, so birthingwithserenity.com, and you can find more information there. But walk us through, especially people listening here. What are your core offerings, and or what can people expect if they were going to reach out and want to learn more and work with you?
Yeah, so we focus specifically on postpartum recovery, not just pregnancy. We do that as well. We blend clinical quality expertise with nurturing care. We also center equity and access too, right? We want to make sure everyone is able to receive this service. We are building infrastructure, not just services. That's the key. A lot of times, we people just are offering services, but not really the infrastructure behind it. I have a background in healthcare compliance and quality improvement. So Sereni was designed with the scalability and measurable outcomes in mind. We're not just offering care; we're offering a replicable model that can integrate, into healthcare ecosystems.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's so interesting. And when would you encourage? Let's say a couple is expecting. what would be the optimal time that they are starting to go through this process and or researching, reaching out? I'm assuming it's not, well, I guess I'd be curious of what you would encourage people to do in almost preparatory time frame.
Yeah, so once they find out, getting a doula overall is the first step. A doula will help educate you on the things that you need, evidence-based wise, of course. But the moment you find out, that's fine. Reach out to someone, or right before you give birth. I've had a client before who I met on the first day, which was their labor, which was an amazing experience overall. So anytime between you get that positive test to labor, you can always contact a doula or some type of support for you, as well as after birth as well. After birth is really when life happens and when the lights go off or may go on as well. So it's very important to reach out immediately so that way you are well prepared. I always say that you have to prepare to plan versus to plan later after, and be proactive and not reactive.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Proactive versus not reactive is important.
Yeah.
Hey, this is an interesting, time, obviously, and with just healthcare in general. Healthcare here in the United States is a tricky thing in general, right? But it's
Yeah.
also, we are now, if not entering, if not already in a world of much more AI automation and how technology is coming in here. How do you imagine this industry changing over time? And I guess maybe another one is, and maybe the next one here is how you imagine, we'll just pop it on here, is your 5 to 10 year vision. But let's go first with where you see this industry going and how you'd want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I see this industry going well. Postnatal retreats are all over the world, just not United States. We have very small number of organizations that offer postpartum services or community brick and mortar. In Asia, they actually have like a retreat where it's an actual hotel or some form of residence where they go straight after giving birth and they get to heal for those 0 to 12 weeks time. It's time to bring that here to America. And I think we are getting there slowly. But the more awareness we bring to the cause and the reasons of the purpose of healing, I think we would definitely grow in numbers.
Yeah, yeah. It is really interesting, and when you look at um, how the other parts of the world view this and treat this space. Founders like, look, we have people that listen all over the world, right? So depending if you're watching and listening, whatever country corner of the world you're in, you might have a different view on this, and so we're all coming from our own directions here. But it isn't it unique, or it's, I guess maybe the word is surprising and interesting that especially here in the United States, just people just have to get back to work so quickly, or there's so much
Yeah.
going on in their life, and this is obviously, if it's the birth of a child, it's a family growth, family member, and then all of a sudden, as you mentioned, like the things that happen after that, that moment are so overwhelming. And so to see like other parts of the world take space and time versus our country is just like like
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, how would you want to influence the message to especially countries like the United States on that?
Yeah, we want to reduce the number of moms experiencing postpartum depression or any other anxiety or mood disorders, mainly because they want to have that time to bond with mom, right? Well, baby, of course, and their
Yeah.
families, and be a thriving community. Right now, we also have a lot of postpartum overnight doulas who go into the homes and stay a couple hours with mom to let her rest, which is so important. When we are sleep deprived or hungry because we focus so much on baby eating, we kind of neglect ourselves, right? And in that moment, we are now starving. I like to say hangry, right? You're hungry and you're angry at the same time. We become overwhelmed, overstimulated when we don't have the right support that we need. So it's very important that we have the support, whether you make it yourself, your own village. I always say that your village can be made up of anyone that you want to,
Yeah.
not just your family members. Sometimes people don't have family around, they just have friends. So building that network of support is so imperative to the overall health and well-being of a mom. That way, baby will thrive. So having Sereni be a part of this change is so amazing to me because I want to be able to be the village that other people truly need and the ones that I actually had. I had an amazing family and friends who rallied around me and lifted me up, and I see it a lot more in other places. But in the urban parts, it's very lacking, right? They don't have the support that they really need. They're just
Yeah.
moving kind of like on zero, right? They're on empty. So it's important that we make it accessible to everyone and not just those who can afford it.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely believe that. That's great. Well, let's jump into this. Let's look out, 5, 10 years, and where do you see Sereni postnatal retreat? Where do you see that? And maybe if there's like other product services, things I know that you mentioned that you're building more of a kind of a system and platform on that. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. In 5 to 10 years, I see many more Sereni retreats, not just my organization, but other organizations coming alive and saying, yeah, in different areas, or even developing more locations, right? I really want to create a brick and mortar here in South Florida, but also other places in the United States. They're going to develop a whole lot more, so that way the numbers will reduce. Right now, like I said, 1 in 5 mothers are experiencing perinatal mood or anxiety disorder. That could be life changing with the correct support system, because a doula will have so many resources. We are the boots on the ground and community health workers that we have connections to everything, whether it's a mental health therapist, whether it's you need a massage for a day, or a newborn care specialist. All these people can definitely help with moms and making sure moms are getting the love and support they do really need. In 5 to 10 years, we're going to expand and grow everywhere.
Yeah. Do you imagine providing things outside the U.S. at some point? Yeah.
Yeah, at some point, sure. I do would like to have in other countries that don't have the access to um, low sliding scale of support. I do want other countries. I am Jamaican, so I would love to bring this to home um, from there, so that way they can also have this resource to them.
Well, good. Hey, we reach people around the world, so keep that in
Yeah.
mind, and it's something that at the right time could possibly work, right? So
Yeah.
just keep that in mind. Well, Angelique, this is it's really amazing. Before we get into kind of some of the last things, what would you given my place, I'm a man. I have not had children yet, and how would you maybe share some thoughts to the men of in this direction that either one might not be at the place of they're literally going to have a child with a partner at some point very soon, but maybe also the men that are like married and they're thinking about this. What would you share to the male direction in all this?
Yeah. Getting getting education is the first thing. Learning how to support your partner in moments where she's not able to voice her needs. A lot of community organizations do hold like dad support groups, and also learning activities. I do myself. I have a workshop every quarter where I have support for the supporting partners. Oh, tongue tie.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. But yeah, support for supporting partners is very important because they are too still going through it. Dads also go through postpartum depression. It's very rare, but it does happen, right? And a lot of times with men, because they're so strong, you guys don't really like to vocalize what's happening. And so having that support system to rally around you, to lift you up is so important, because not just mom needs the help, but dad does too. And dads really need to prepare, right? Not just say, oh, my wife is having a pregnant, or my partner's is pregnant, having a baby. We all both having a baby. And what does that look like? How can I help mom? How do I change? A lot of people don't know how to change diapers. How do I change a diaper? Do I need to learn CPR? How do I feed the baby? Am I holding the baby correctly? I don't know what I'm doing. A lot of times they have all these questions that just pop up, but they don't really know where to go to get these answers.
Yeah.
And so go to community organizations around you and find those local classes and workshops.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And it can be intimidating, okay?
Yeah.
As we need these resources. So thank you so much on that. It's good. You've been doing this and you've learned some things. What would you share to other entrepreneurs and founders that they're starting their journey as well? And if you had a couple tips or a piece, maybe two things, advice that you would share with others, and maybe this is like, hey, if I could talk to Angelique like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, or whatever the time frame that before you started this, what would you share?
Build what the world needs and not what trends. Ground your innovation in real lived experiences. A lot of times people are going by what is hot right now versus what is really truly needed. Measure your outcomes as well. If you're going to build something, measure, does it work? Is the data there? And stay resilient. When people don't immediately understand your vision, you have to stay resilient and strong and keep moving. Do not give up. It can be challenging, but do not give up. And I think lastly, but most importantly, build sustainability. Have that be sustainable, and pour into yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. And as a founder, I know firsthand, sometimes I forget to eat. And it's not good because I'm always thinking. My mind is going a mile a minute. And sleep is so important as well. Sleep and rest. We have so many ideas in the middle of the night that we're tossing and turning, or by the time we lay our head down, it's time to get back up and do stuff. So get your rest as well. Self-care is important.
Look at all those.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at all those. You could spend an hour talking about all those. This is all these were very, very good. Yeah, I fully agree. And I think number one, let's go from the back. Sleep, everyone. Recovery is so important. And honestly, this is something that I'm pretty big on now. And I don't know. I go about it like, if I'm not out and about, I make sure I get to bed at a very good hour and I get a good amount of sleep, because I'm really orienting for the next day. And I would encourage everyone to think about, like, you don't need to be typing emails at 11 p.m., 12 a.m. I'm saying you just don't. Yeah. Like, you can respond tomorrow, and that extra 2 hours of sleep is absolutely incredible for your health. Okay. So that's number one. Okay. I like that. And then the other one that I heard you say that I really liked was, or just kind of around resilience, and just around just understand, keeping going. And what I would add to that is things take a lot longer than you want. Yes. And the path should be pretty long for all of you. And we live in a world that we want immediate results. But in reality, like, if you have a longer view on things, you can take the time to go and achieve what you want to achieve at the proper time. It's just a weird, with ChatGPT, you can create a business plan in like 2 minutes. Like, that doesn't mean you're going to be successful, everyone. Okay. So I do think that these things are very, very important. And so I thank you for sharing all that. And, it's great what you've learned, and you obviously have a lot to do. So, exciting to see and you talked about that 5 to 10 year vision, and, seeing these retreats even farther across the world, and maybe, it'll be a good day when you see more and more people taking the time to recover from and be at peace with this life moment, right?
Yes.
Taking the time and recover and being healthy. So important, huh?
Yes, indeed. And like you said, rest is healing overall. When you have your rest, you could do a million things once you get proper rest.
Okay, that feeling after a tremendously full, long sleep,
Yes.
that's what you want, everyone. You
Yes.
want that, okay? It's what you want more often in the week than not, okay? Like, trust
Mhm.
me. I'm a founder and CEO of a company, and I get my good sleep, okay? So, I encourage people. So that's fun. Okay, Angelique, this is amazing. So people can learn more at birthingwithserenity.com. And then, is there any social platforms that you would want to encourage people to maybe follow you or reach out or whatever?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at your_Serene Doula and on Facebook as well at Sereni Postnatal Retreat.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, hey, this was amazing, and I learned some new things that not typically in my wheelhouse. So thank you, and again, congratulations on the experience at Founders Live. Here's the thing. Founders Live is about entrepreneurship and for all people. And I think that that's one thing you might have picked up as well is we're not just here for those tech startups that are about unicorns and getting billion-dollar companies. That happens or whatever, but entrepreneurship is so many different things, and you're building in your own direction a really creative, cool company as well. So that's why I want to celebrate that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Well, hey, everyone, this has been Founders Live Conversations. Thank you so much for watching, listening. Check out, follow Angelique, and feel free to reach out to her if it's of interest. And we will see you all later during the next Founders Live Conversations. Thank you all.